Okay, so today we are gonna take a look at Chiori, the banners, the new banner, which is over over here. We're gonna take a look at her skills, burst, and yeah, we're just gonna straight up see if she's like worth pulling, like as a general use character. But I'm gonna be pulling for her. I don't care what anyone says, and hopefully, she'll be good regardless. But let's look at the banners first, because I think that's like the most important thing. So right here, phase 1, Chiori and Ito. We don't know too much about Chiori's weapon. They just mentioned it has something to do with defense. So the main stat is not revealed yet, but hopefully it stays like the leaks and it's crit damage. And defense is just something in the effects. Something in the extra effects, or some kind of substat. That's what I'm hoping for. Ito's weapon, not too bad. It really isn't that bad. I go here. Good for a good chunk of characters, especially now that Diluc is getting more use. Ito, obviously, Noelle, she's been getting more use because of Farina. Gaming, if you don't have a Claymore for him yet. And really solid crit damage. That's a lot of crit damage. Defense increased by 28%. Normal and charge attack damage is increased by 40% of defense. Now, this is good. This is actually really good because every character has defense. Your defense is getting boosted, so more damage for you, I guess. 88 crit damage, a lot. That's a lot of crit damage. So yeah, really solid weapon. If I end up getting this instead of Chiori's, I'm gonna keep trying to pull for Chiori's weapon. But I wouldn't be mad because I do want to build my Noelle. And Gaming, no, I think I gave him Wolf's Gravestone. Or was it the Skyward one? It was one of those two. The Tome of Eternal Flow. I'm surprised it's only good for Neuvillette. I knew it was good for him, and it was like a perfect match. But I'm surprised at least like Risley isn't here because there are some characters they recommended for other weapons that are like not as good, but they can still make pretty good use of it. But they only mention that extra HP stats won't be useful to him. But we have a ton of crit damage. And he's already using the Marchase set. So this is already a thing. Charge attack damage will be increased by 14%. Okay. I know he does normal attacks, but am I like the only one who does like a charge attack at the end of his normal attack strings? Because that's actually what I do. At least when he's available for events and stuff, I always do a charge attack at the end. So I think this is pretty good for him. But let's see here. Viable for any other characters who rely on charge attacks. So Yanfei, Ningguang, Klee, Lisa. I have no idea what these two do. So I'm guessing if you want this, you want to use this tome on any of these four, you would have to probably use the Marachase set or have Farina somewhere. So that's kind of, I guess, the downside to it, but it's a good set regardless. But overall, really solid weapon for phase 2, which is gonna be Neuvillette and Kazuha. Really solid phase 2. So let's go back to the Freedom Sworn. A lot of characters here. I already knew like Urara, Shinobu, Jean, Bennett, and of course Kazuha. I'm surprised about Albedo, Nilu, and Layla. Yeah, I really don't know why Layla's here. Aside from like the buffing, like right here. But aside from that, I'm not really, I don't really know why Layla's here. I thought it would be better to just have like an HP sword since we got one now. And or even a crit rate sword if you want like Favonius procs. Yeah. Wait, that doesn't make sense. Favonius is the weapon. Um Layla, real quick. Real quick. What's your weapons? E Okay, yeah, that makes what I said literally made no sense. Anyways, let's go back. But yeah, surprised about Layla. Let's see, best choice for Kazuha. I highly doubt that, but it's a really good option. Decent for Albedo. You need to trigger an elemental reaction, so this weapon isn't good for mono Geo teams. Okay, that's fine. Um, yeah, it buffs elemental mastery. Not bad. So overall, really solid banner. Phase 2 is amazing. I'm really happy I don't have to worry about it, which is why I like pulling for characters on release. Because if I didn't pull for Novelette, I mean, in my case, he was an accidental pull. But if I didn't get him, I would be pulling on phase 2. And I would probably like prioritize Chiori more. But really solid phase 2, pretty good phase 1, new character and Ito. Weapon banners, not too bad. We don't really know what this thing does, but it's a really nice weapon. I kind of wonder, since Chiori's a dual wielder, if you give her like a Mistsplitter, will she be holding two Mistsplitters? That I have to see. Um, but over here, now, this is a very interesting banner because they mentioned that like this will change depending on like how long a character has not like gone the rerun, if I understood it correctly. And I guess it's more tailored to getting the character. You still have to pull like using primos, but maybe they might do standard wishes. Probably not. If they make it so it can take standard wishes, then perfect. If it's like intertwined fates, then I don't think anyone will be pulling for this. They'll probably just get the hunter's path and that's it. Because they can just wait for the rerun. Or if they're like really saving and they just have a bunch of primos to spare, then sure. But most of the time, I think Hunter's Path will be like the main chase here. They're gonna get Hunter's Path, and depending on how the banner actually is and what currency it takes, then I'm pretty sure Hunter's Path will be just the main option because I don't think we have to worry about Mona, Diluc, or Jean. Mainly because they're already standard characters. You'll get them if you lose your 50/50s. You'll get them from standard wishing eventually, probably. Albedo, he just disappeared. Eula disappeared for a while. And Klee, these three are like the main three who have disappeared for a very long time. These two got the rerun. Albedo, do we really want to count this? I don't think I'm going to count that as a rerun. But let's go ahead and look at her skill because it does seem pretty interesting. Look, by tapping her elemental skill button, Chiori dashes forward and sweeps her blade upward. At the same time, Chiori will summon her doll and attack together. So kind of like Arena in a way. Dealing damage to opponents based on her attack and defense. Hold the elemental skill button to adjust the dash direction. Hopefully, like maybe it scales better if you hold it, because that's what it usually is, kind of. When geo constructs exist or are created nearby, sell two dolls. Okay. But attack and defense. Now here's the thing. There's two potential sets that come into mind, and that is Husk and Golden Troop, because if she's skill based, kind of like Farina, where you just use her skill and leave, then Golden Troop will be pretty strong. But Husk can also be pretty strong because of the defense it provides. And Husk has been known to be pretty good for defense characters anyway. So pretty solid choice for both. Those are the only two that come into mind. I don't really know if any other sets would be like really good for her or not. But attack and defense. That means you would have to build crit, obviously. The leaks did say her weapon will have crit damage, but that hasn't been confirmed here, so I'm hoping it's true. So Golden Troop or Husk is my two options for her. I'm hoping it's Golden Troop, her best, because if it isn't, then I have to farm Husk. I still have to farm for Golden Troop, obviously, but I would have to farm less. Let's go over to her burst. At least I think this is her burst. I don't know what this is. I really don't. I'm pretty sure it's her burst. But let me actually make sure. Okay, this is her burst. I was paying attention, but that's a really clean burst. That really is a really clean burst. But after unlocking talent tailor made, we'll gain different effects depending on the next action you take within a short duration after using her skill's upward sweep. Tapping the elemental skill button again switches to the next character in your roster. So that means her positioning will be very important. When your active party member's normal charge and plunging hits an opponent, the doll will execute a coordinated attack. So an instant switch. So maybe Golden Troop. Maybe. Tapping the normal attack button again will cause Chiori to gain a Geo infusion. I think this is the part where Husk would be probably better. No, it would definitely be better if you're using her as a main DPS. I am so down to use her as a main DPS, actually. But a Geo infusion, kind of like Navia's, I'm assuming. Because Navia used her skill, she gains Geo infusion for a little while. So I'm guessing it's similar to that. But if this is restricted to her burst, then she is gonna need some energy generation. So energy recharge if we have to build as well. I really don't like building energy recharge, to be honest. But it is what it is. But this can give her, this second part here, it can give her some main DPS capabilities. So it would kind of look like defense or attack Sans. Depending on what she scales off more, I guess. Geo damage Goblet, I'm pretty sure that's gonna be either way, whether she's a sub DPS or main DPS. And if you don't have Geo damage, again, defense or attack. And if that thing is crit damage, her weapons, then crit rate circlet. I cannot get over how clean this looks. Oh my gosh, this looks amazing. But anyways, I think that should be it for Chiori. Overall, she seems like a really solid character. She kind of is like a Geo Farina in a way. And depending on her scaling, she can be pretty strong as both a sub DPS as well as a main DPS. Because one, she can switch your characters if you tap the skill button. And tapping normal attack, you'll gain Geo Infusion. So either way, you're getting some value for both, which I think is a good thing. Now hopefully she is good, So that means we would have another really solid Geo character after Navia. Because Navia is correct. Even in the trial, you're hitting 100k plus. If you build her, my Navia is like okay-ish. Her sands are trash. But I can still consistently hit around 280 to 300k. And that is, I think, with max stacks. With Farina and Navia. No, not Navia. Honestly, I kind of rush her skill a lot when using her, so I could potentially be doing more. But yeah, Navia is cracked. Hopefully Chiori is as good, maybe slightly better, or maybe even just slightly worse. If she's around Navia range, then amazing. But hopefully, I'm just hoping that she turns out good. I'm gonna be pulling for her regardless. I'm gonna be using her regardless. Because I just absolutely loved her character after seeing her in Roses and Muskets. So hopefully it turns out well. But before I end it off, I do think that she could be a potential good free-to-play option, depending on like what else she can do. We don't have every single detail about her, but I think she's pretty solid. She can do damage. Because she's a Geo character, her teams may be limited. But if she's similar to like Navia, where you can just slap whatever character you want, then sure. And in a way, she's kind of similar to Farina as well. Because she summons one, two dolls. One or two dolls, depending on if you have a Geo Infusion or not. Not Geo Infusion, Geo Construct. So you would have another Geo character in your team. Which, again, limits her options. But hopefully she turns out good regardless. So I'm going to be pulling for her anyway. I'm going to probably want to use her as a sub DPS. But I will try for main DPS. I really do. I really will try for main DPS. Is there anything else about her aside from her story quest and Lynette's character hangout? I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, Chiori, solid character, really strong character from what it looks like here. And hopefully she turns out really well.